Today we shall discuss various types of legal research. In research methodology, in legal research methodology, there are various types of legal research. It can be classified in various ways, and on the basis of nature of data, tools of data collection, interpretation of already available data, purpose, and other such criteria, it can be divided into certain categories. That is, on the basis of the following things like purpose or goal. First one is purpose or goal of the research. Then second one, perspective for observing reality. Perspective for observing reality. Then applied legal research and recreational legal research. There are two major theoretical perspectives: positivism and phenomenology. The purposive research is divided to mainly into two categories, that is empirical and non-empirical. In reality, that this is the major classification, that is legal research is mainly divided into two, that is first one is empirical and non-empirical. Another classification based on the nature of tools and techniques, that is the tools and techniques on which we are depending for completing our research. In this way we can classify them into quantitative and qualitative research. Another classification is description research and explanatory research. So we can see that even in legal research there are various types of bifurcations. The most popular classification divides various forms of research into theoretical, applied, action, interdisciplinary, and evaluation research. That is, first one is theoretical, second applied, third one action, fourth one interdisciplinary, and fifth one evaluation research. Now we can analyze each of these in detail. First one is theoretical research. It is also known as pure, fundamental, or basic research. In such research, the researcher gathers knowledge for the sake of knowledge. The research involves developing and testing theories and hypotheses. Its finding might have theoretical value. Here, the purpose of the research is for getting knowledge only. Then coming to second one, that is applied research. Here, aim of the research is to solve the administrative problems of different acts. Then third one, action research. Action research is similar to applied or practical research. It is mainly related to actual operations connected with the event or problem. Fourth one is interdisciplinary research. This has emerged from behavioral movement. Such research studies a unit as a whole and take into consideration all aspects of the problem. Fourth one is evaluation research. It is a systematic collection of information about activities and outcomes of actual programs. The aim is to evaluate the impact of the program. The legal research can be broadly classified into doctrinal and empirical legal research. In certain cases, we can see there are certain sponsored research, like institutional research, institutional sponsored research, which is backed by UGC, ICSSR, Indian Law Institute, etc. They sponsor some research project to the law institutes or different universities. The faculty members of the law departments of universities propose the projects with a detailed report explaining the scope and need of the study along with the estimated cost and time of execution of the project. The concerned institutions approve the project and release the funds to the concerned universities. The concerned directors of the project execute the data collection, analysis, and reporting by appointing field workers or research assistants. These projects are useful for the legal policy decisions. Then another category is academic or doctrinal research. The law faculties of concerned university announce the program of PhD and MPhil courses. The postgraduate law degree holders have to apply accordingly in prescribed forma along with all their requirements. They have to pay the cost of application form and get it filled according to the instruction laid down on it. They should select a research guide or director as per the rules of their university. They should submit a brief report of their area of study and get the approval of the research guide or director along with the other evidence of the qualifications in biodata. After receiving the intimation of selection from the university authorities, he should enroll by paying the prescribed fee. He will be called as a research scholar and he can apply to get any scholarship according to his eligibility through the authorities. He has to complete his project within the prescribed course time. This is the usual method of research following in every university. Now we can inspect or examine doctrinal or traditional or non-empirical legal research. The doctrinal research, the difference between or there will be a question, usually the question will come for exams like compare and contrast doctrinal and non-doctrinal legal research. So this topic is very important in examination point of view. A doctrinal research means research that has been carried out on a legal proposition or propositions by way of analyzing the existing statutory provisions and cases by applying the reasoning power. Doctrinal research involves analysis of case laws, arranging, ordering, and systematizing legal propositions and study of legal institutions through legal reasoning or rational deduction. Ascertaining a legal rule for the purpose of solving a problem is one of the purposes of the traditional legal research. This has been achieved by the original sources of the law. The Acts of Parliament and Acts passed by legislature fall under the category of legislation. The case laws decided by Supreme Court and High Courts, which are binding on lower courts, fall under the category of procedures. The secondary sources like textbooks on law, commentaries, do not possess as much authority as the original sources possess. Hence, quality of doctrinal research depends upon the source materials on which the researcher depends upon for his study. The doctrinal legal research attempts to verify the hypothesis by a first-hand study of authoritative sources. A doctrinal researcher should know how to use a law library, For the major portion of his research methodology concerns the identification of authoritative sources and use of the techniques to find them out. A researcher, while undertaking doctoral research, takes one or more legal propositions as a starting point and focus of his study. For example, a researcher interested in law of contact might start with the proposition that action in reliance by promisee is a sufficient reason for the courts to enforce the promise. He, that is the researcher, then takes place in the or the researcher then approaches the law library where legal scholar try to locate all relevant appellate decisions and all discussions of the propositions in treaties, texts, encyclopedias, and legal periodicals. After reading and analyzing these materials, the scholar formulates his conclusions and writes up his study. Doctrinal research looks at certain concrete issues. I shall enumerate the issues. First one is the aim of preferred values. Second one, the problems posed by the gap between the policy goal and the present state of achievement. Third one, availability of alternative choice for the implementation of goals. Fourth one, the predictions and consequences that were made. In a dynamic society, the laws of social welfare have placed a great burden on courts of law. Generally, there will be gaps in statutes, and the courts have to evolve doctrinal principles, standards, and norms. Further, there will be ambiguity in statutory language, a word which appears to be clear during the enactment of the law may become vague during the application to a particular case. Main characteristics of doctrinal research are the study is mainly based on propositions. The sources of data for a doctrinal researcher are reports of appellate courts and conventional legal theory. It is concerned with what the particular doctrine of law says and not as what the authority to say so. Then process of legal doctrinal research. First one, the scheme of articulated and preferred values at which a doctrine was aimed. The scheme must be clearly articulated. Second one, the problem or problems proposed or posed by the gap between policy goals and prevent state of achievement. The problem or problems posed by the gap between policy goals and present state of achievement. Third one, alternative courses of action apparently available to implement goals. Fourth one, the choice of action in fact made, that is creation of the doctrine. Fifth one, the operative value, conscious and subconscious influence of the choice. Sixth one, the models, explicit or implicit, with which the decision makers predicted the consequences of creating, invoking, and applying the doctrine. The prediction of consequences that in fact was made. That is the last point. Conventional legal materials are also some help in tracing the actual consequences adopting a doctrine. However, traditional legal source materials supply an inadequate basis for ascertaining doctrinal impact, especially upon people and institutions outside the legal arena. Doctrinal research usually embark upon the analysis of case law, but there is some defects to doctrinal research because there are overemphasis on applied court decision. First defect is overemphasis on applied court decision. Second defect, inefficiency of the researcher to distinguish clearly whether and when he intended to describe past legal behavior or to predict future legal behavior can be seen. Lack of basic conceptual legal research is the reason for this defect. This is the main defects of doctrinal research or non-empirical research. Then coming to empirical or non-doctrinal legal research. Conducting empirical research in law is of recent origin. Empirical means relying solely on observation and experiment, not on theory. The empirical research is carried out by collecting and gathering data or information relating to universe by a first-hand study. A legal researcher undertaking non-doctrinal research typically takes either some aspect of the legal decision process or the people and institutions supposedly regulated by law as the focus of his study. Because the approach of a legal researcher undertaking non-doctrinal research is much broader and the questions he asks are more numerous. Most non-doctrinal research seeks the following points. First one, to assess the impact of the non-legal events like economic developments, growth of knowledge, technological changes, etc. upon legal decision process. And second one, to identify and appraise the magnitude of the various factors influencing the outcome of legal decision making. Third one, to trace the consequences of the outcome or legal decision making in terms of the value, gains and deprivations or litigants, non-litigants, etc. The empirical research technique is also called as fact research. Explaining the scope of this technique, one person called Arthur Nussbaum observed that by fact research in law, we mean systematic research into social, political, and other fact conditions which give rise to individual rules and examination of the social, political, and other effects of these rules. Empirical research is an inquiry that attempts to discover and verify general rules, allowing us to understand why human beings behave the way they do. Empirical research is mainly concerned with the legal decision process. That is, researchers' attention is on variables that influence the decision and impact of the decisions on the society. That is, variables that influence the decision and the impact of the decisions on the society. The empirical research may be defined as research into relationship of law with other behavioral sciences. Here, more importance is given to people, social values, and social institutions. Then, coming to main features of legal research, first point is it tried to find out the impact of non-legal events upon the legal decision processes. It seeks to identify and appraise the degree of variables which influence the outcome and legal decision making. Then main characteristics are it tries to find out the impact of non-legal events upon the legal decision process. It seeks to identify and appraise the degree of variables which influence the outcome and legal decision making. Third one, it tries to find out the effect of each decision on people and society as such. It lays different and lesser emphasis on doctrine. Fifth one, it seeks answers to broader and more numerous questions. Sixth one, it is not anchored exclusively to appellate report and other traditional legal sources. Then coming to limitations of this kind of study, that is non-doctrinal or empirical research. One person called Mr. Jonas in his article suggested certain methods for differentiating it. First point formulated by him is other disciplines, that is like for political science, sociology, etc., by and large have shied away from the study of the legal order. Second one, law professors are almost obsessively preoccupied with the teaching function. Third point, many legal educators unwillingly inculcate an arrogant attitude toward non-doctrinal research, especially non-doctrinal research into legal order by other disciplines. Most law professors conceive of themselves as lawyers or legal educators rather than scholars. Law schools and law professors lack a tradition sustaining non-doctrinal research. Law professors are not adequately trained in the technique of non-doctrinal empirical research. This is a major problem because many of law professors are not well versed in statistics, so they find it very difficult while dealing with empirical kind of research. So these are the main differences between doctrinal and non-doctrinal legal research.